Welcome to the Walking Word. My name is Annie. Genesis chapter 5. We're doing the Bible in a year. Generations Adam to Noah. This is the record of the descendants of Adam. When God created man, he made him in the likeness of God. He created them male and female. When they were created, he blessed them and named them man. Adam was 130 years old when he begot a son in his likeness, after his image, and he named him Seth. Adam lived 800 years after the birth of Seth, and he had other sons and daughters. The whole lifetime of Adam was 930 years. Then he died. Then Seth was 105 years old when he became the father of Enosh. Seth lived 807 years after the birth of Enosh, and he had other sons and daughters. Huh. The whole lifetime of Seth was 912 years, Then he died. When Enosh was 90 years old, he became the father of Kenan. Enosh lived 815 years after the birth of Kenan, and he had other sons and daughters. The whole lifetime of Enosh was 905 years. Then he died. When Kenan was 70 years, he became the father of Mehalel. Kenan lived 840 years after the birth of Mehalalel, and he had other sons and daughters. The whole lifetime of Kenan was 910 years. Then he died. Wow. When Mehalalel was 65 years old, he became the father of Jared. Mahalalel lived 830 years after the birth of Jared, and he had other sons and daughters. The whole lifetime of Mahalalel was 895 years. Then he died. When Jared was 162 years old, he became the father of Enoch. Jared, Jared lived 800 years after the birth of Enoch, and he had other sons and daughters. The whole lifetime of Jared was 962 years. Then he died. Wow. When Enoch was 65 years old, he became the father of Methuselah. Enoch lived 300 years after the birth of Methuselah, and he had other sons and daughters. The whole lifetime of Enoch was 365 years. Uh-huh. But there's something different about Enoch. Enoch doesn't die like his ancestors. Then Enoch walked with God. And he was no longer here, for God took him. So in scripture, there's several people who've been taken up, one being Enoch. Of course, we know the story of Elijah. When Methuselah was 187 years old, he became the father of Lamech. Methuselah lived 782 years after the birth of Lamech, and he had sons and daughters. The whole lifetime of Methuselah was 969 years. Then he died. This is why we say as old as Methuselah, because he's the oldest man that ever lived. When Lamech was 182 years, he begot a son and named him Noah, saying, out of every ground that the Lord has put under a curse, this Noah shall bring us relief from our work and the toil of our hands. So fathers can bless their children. Lamech lived 595 years after the birth of Noah, and he had other sons and daughters. The whole lifetime of Lamech was 700 was 777 years. Then he died. So Lamech lived 777. Seven is the number of completion. When Noah was 500 years old, he became the father of Shem, Ham, and Japheth. So, an interesting story here. I'm just thinking about all these women who were giving birth when they were in their 800, 700, 900, 500, 100 years of age, and they're still bearing children. For you who's looking for your children and the world has told you you're barren and you shall never bear fruit, read the generations of Adam to Noah, and I pray that gives you encouragement. And something else that stands out for me in this chapter, out of every lineage, one child stood out. It keeps on saying, this person had more sons and daughters, but why did God say it fit to highlight a specific child? Because as children, we all carry something special. Every individual carries something special. And all the special names will make sense later as we continue reading. Catch you in chapter 6.